With now 6 rounds in the rear view mirror, it's time to go to a track that we have never been to before in the history of Racecraft Rallycross. It's Lucas Oil Raceway, otherwise known as Indianapolis Raceway Park, and we are live on Racecraft TV. We're happy that all of you are spending your Sunday afternoon with us here on Racecraft TV, where myself, Joshua Lee, is in the booth with 2 different color commentators tonight. Dane Baird, very busy weekend for him. He is taking some much needed rest and relaxation. But for RX2, I've got Trevor Teal with me in the booth, which if you're familiar with Racecraft TV, familiar with Rallycross, off-road, everything, you know him for wearing a certain costume normally on the broadcast, but he's not wearing it tonight. And Trevor, you're here with me in the booth for the first time on Racecraft TV, so let me be the first to welcome you. And you're going to be commentating on the RX2 guys that you've kind of been the leader of for a while in the first 3 seasons of this series, Racecraft Rallycross, and now you get to judge them from the booth, a brand new place.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm wearing kind of a different hat today up here with you, and it should be a good time. I'm excited to watch my guys rip around.
And they'll be ripping around this track that we'll talk about in a moment, but it is a schedule change to what was normally going to be Hell Lankabanen, and some issues with that track pushed us now to go to Lucas Oil Raceway. And with Sonoma down, Daytona, Brands Hatch, Iowa, Barcelona, and Charlotte, and then Phoenix, Knock Hill, and Atlanta left on the calendar for both RX2 and RX1. Knock Hill especially, and I'd throw even Phoenix in there, some of the tougher tracks on the Rallycross circuit. But this track, Lucas Oil Raceway, that we're at tonight, Trevor, is one of the toughest and is one of the most unique as we take a look at our Racecraft Rallycross track information here at Lucas Oil Raceway IRP. Very, very tight dirt section, specifically through 2 and 3, and then a joker lap that is not too much of an advantage, but just enough that these drivers are going to want to use it strategically and to their advantage.
Definitely, yeah. We have a very technical track tonight. It's there's going to be lots of bumping, and it should be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch.
And these drivers are on the track right now for qualifying, and we'll see where everybody is going to qualify here tonight. But everybody looking for some good starting positions in RX2. And speaking of RX2, we'll grab a look at your current point standings for RX2. And the story being told right now is Carson McKenna with that solid 16-point gap. And then you go back to Sean Winkler, Andrew Howell. They've got a lot of catching up to do. But Trevor, the 2 drop weeks taking into account, still a lot of time left and still a lot of bad finishes to be taken off the tally for the drivers in their drop weeks.
Oh, definitely. Carson's been really strong all season. I mean, even I haven't had anything for him. Tyler's been really strong as well, and looking for Sean, to get some podiums here. I think he can end out the season with a win.
Sean Winkler, of course, in that number 62, has multiple wins so far this season and looks for more on the win tally. Tyler Campbell being one of those drivers that has a decent amount of success, and specifically in this season of Racecraft Rallycross, already 2 feature race wins for him. Can he get another one here tonight? 20 seconds left in qualifying. We're going to be running a bit of an abbreviated format to what we've run in the past. Only 2 heat races here tonight. Top 4 will advance from both of those heat races into our feature race, and we'll see how many we get from that LCQ. But if the heat races stay the same at 4 each, it will be another 4 that we'll take from the LCQ and put forward into the feature race to make a 12-car feature race grid. And it is official, 4 drivers we will take here from our first heat race of the night and both of our heat races this evening. Carson McKenna will be on the pole, fastest man in qualifying. He starts on the top spot with Dario Franco in second place. It's Sean Winkler, Scott Kerr back from there, Russell Peterson, Hex Valentine rounding out the top 6, and 9 drivers set to take the green flag, and it is Ian Fisher, Armand Brusso, and Robert Kirtley that are going to round out those names. So this field right now, as they get ready to take to the starting grid and everybody lines on up, 9 drivers will go racing for heat race number 1, and undoubtedly one of the most important heat races of the night. Trevor, it is the start and really setting the tone for the evening.
Oh, definitely. It's a pretty long start. So I'm expecting a little bit of carnage into that turn one, but hopefully not. We'll see what goes on.
Looks like waiting on Robert Kirtley to take to the starting grid if he does, and we continue now to wait for the hold. You can hear those engines starting to rev with our 9 drivers that are currently on the grid. This one is going to be a wild one to watch. Everybody's on the grid. 9 drivers ready to take the green flag here from Lucas Oil Raceway IRP. Heat race number 1 for RX2, and we are green. It's a bad start. It's no start for Robert Kirtley in the back. That was Ian Fisher in the back, actually. He finally gets going. As they work their way through the final turns of the oval here at Lucas Oil Raceway. The Subaru on the inside. That's Carson McKenna with sideways. Now Dario Franco out to the early lead. Sean Winkler in second. Side by side back from there. As everybody races into the dirt. Couple takers to the Joker, but out in front, Dario Franco sets the pace through the dirt for the first time.
Rare mistake from Carson McKenna, not getting the best start, sitting in P3.
They work their way out of the dirt for the first time, and that is Dario Franco that leads the way. Sean Winkler in second, doesn't get the best exit out of the dirt section there. Here comes Carson McKenna to try and battle. Blocking that inside line goes Sean Winkler. Now as they work their way back into ovals turn 1 and 2. Joker lane this time. Down to the inside goes Franco. He loses no time but goes wide. And into the tire barrier he goes. And Dario Franco gives up the race lead and might just give up a transfer. Contact behind with Brusso.
Sean Winkler, the leader, has been turned. Carson is now in the lead.
What a wild turn of events there over the last couple of moments, the last couple of corners, I should say. We'll see if we can grab a replay, but that was an intense moment specifically for who was the race leader at the time in Dario Franco. Let's see if we can find out what exactly happened, because it was just, it looked like a chain reaction of incidents, and it was coming out of the Joker. We'll go back a little bit further here with Dario Franco, but here it is. And he just, out of the Joker, completely misses the braking zone for this portion of the track. And then here's Winkler up on the turtle curve. Not even any contact there with Carson McKenna, Trevor. He just ended up getting around off the turtle.
Yeah, he got a little loose and just sent her around.
Well, back onto the tarmac for our current top spot that belongs to Carson McKenna. The field will race their way back to the start-finish line. 4 laps completed, or on lap number 4. 2 to go here in heat race number 1. A little bit of a battle for second between what is Scott Kerr and Russell Peterson. Everybody up here at the front has taken their Joker lap. So now, as we see a bit of contact there with the Subaru Peterson, Kerr is going to move him out of the way. Here comes Sean Winkler to try and battle. This is one position inside of our transfer spots as second, third, and fourth. Put a blanket under him right now as they go back to the dirt. How aggressive is Peterson wanting it for third? And how about Hex Valentine now catching up for that transfer spot, Trevor? He is within striking distance. We can get closer to Russell Peterson. Quick flag this time for McKenna.
Yeah, I'm really pulling for Hex. He's been working really hard. He's been getting really close to making those features, so hoping to see him get in there today.
But out in front, it's all Carson McKenna with a very, very dominating performance right now in that number 11 machine. And as he works his way through the dirt section, looking a little bit further back, it's still Winkler in third, still Kerr in second, excuse me. Fourth goes to Russell Peterson, and X Valentine, I don't think he's going to have enough right now to be able to catch up, but out of oval turn 4, back to the front straightaway, it will be Carson McKenna who's going to walk away with your heat race number 1 victory. Scott Kerr in second, Sean Winkler drag race to the line, and Winkler will have to settle for third, Kerr in second. Russell Peterson rounds out the transfer spots in P4. An exciting way to begin the night of RX2, and Armin Brusso going to be the last driver to come across the start-finish line. We take a look at your full race results with Carson McKenna, Scott Kerr, Sean Winkler, and Russell Peterson advancing into the feature race. Time for RX2 heat race number 2. Starting on the pole here will be Tyler Campbell with Andrew Howell in second, Paul Mikolajczyk in third with Thomas Grady fourth, Matthew Lindy with Hector Sierra rounding out your top 6. Rounding out the 8 drivers that'll take the green flag here from virtual Lucas Oil Raceway, Sim Van Weerld and Room Antonissen. And a good start to the night here for RX2 as we get ready for heat race number 2. Will we see as many fireworks here, Trevor? Of course, Tyler Campbell, one of the championship competitors. We know he wants to be aggressive and earn as many points as he possibly can.
Oh yeah, we got some really quick people in this heat, so it's going to be a fun one to watch. I'm going to have to go, I'm going to guess Andrew Howell on this one. I'm going to go out on a limb and go with Andrew Howell.
Green light goes on. We are racing in RX2 heat race number 2. We'll send another 4 into the feature race, and through almost 3 and 4 off the start. It will be a great one for Tyler Campbell, side by side between Grady and Mikolajczyk. 3 wide, almost behind driver, going around and hard into the outside wall. That is Matthew Lindy, who's going to go up into the air. Room Antonissen flips over once. Hector Sierra Jr. still going in 6th as the 2 teammates now are going to try and spar for 4th place back there in the transfer. But Tyler Campbell, beautiful start for the 37, pulls away at the front. Back to the tarmac, off of the dirt, and Matthew Lindy has to tow it all the way back to the pit lane. He'll go score all the way down at the bottom of your timing tower. But Thomas Grady, Paul Mikolajczyk, 2nd and 3rd. The battle for 4th has really done down with Sim Van Weerld in 4th, Andrew Howell, 2 teammates in 5th, and it looks like a joker lap there from, I believe, Paul Mikolajczyk moves him into 3rd, and that's going to stack up this entire group here. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It's Grady, Mikolajczyk, and Van Weerld as Howell loses a bit of time now over a 2nd to the 4th place driver, Van Weerld.
Yeah, this is going to be a good battle, Josh.
And that battle for the lead right now, almost non-existent. 2 seconds in between Campbell and Grady as the field races back to the start-finish line. 2 laps completed, halfway done now with heat race number 2. Back onto the dirt for the number 37. And a joker this time for Van Weerld, puts him to fake, then he almost makes contact with teammate Andrew Howell. They keep it straight and no incident to report of, but Mikolajczyk and gonna get by Thomas Grady, who is just in the wall in the 535, and he lets Sierra Jr., Van Weerld, and Howell go by. Grady falls to 6th place.
Yeah, I'm thinking Grady might have got a slowdown. He pulled over and stopped for a while there.
Side by side up in front again between Van Weerld and Hector Sierra Jr. as Sierra goes for the transfer spot of P4. He comes up, contact with Andrew Howell, or contact with Sim Van Weerld as they continue to fight for the transfer. Van Weerld is loose on the inside. He makes contact with Sierra. Tom Grady to the bottom is going to get into the transfer places into P4. Sierra Jr. loose another spot down into P6, but what a move for Grady as Van Weerld's into the wall into Sierra again. They make contact going over the jump.
It's getting hectic back there. They're going for it. They both want that transfer spot. This is crazy. I love it.
Tyler Campbell, Paul Mikolajczyk still both need to take to the joker. It is now white flag. And Tyler Campbell took it that last time by. Paul Mikolajczyk will take it this time. He'll fall to 3rd. Andrew Howell on the outside. Contact made through braking, but on the exit of turn 1, it will be Andrew Howell into 2nd, but no pressure out back for the Legion Speed Sport entry of Thomas Grady, one of the competitors in the iRacing Off-Road Championship Series. Looked like he might have been down and out of this heat race, but lo and behold, wreck in front of him gives him a final spot into the feature. But across the line, another heat race win for Tyler Campbell. This is going to make a total of 4 heat race wins in his Racecraft Rallycross career.
Yeah, what a great race for Campbell there. Definitely was fun watching that battle between 3rd and 4th. Looking forward to that LCQ. It's going to be a little wild out there.
And it's already been getting a little wild. Tyler Campbell grabs the win. Andrew Howell in second. Paul Mikolajczyk with Thomas Grady rounding out the 4 drivers that advance into the feature. We're ready for the LCQ. Only one of them will be taking place tonight, and this one will send 4 drivers through to the feature. Hex Valentine, Hector Sierra, top 2 with Robert Kirtley, Sim Van Weerl, 3rd and 4th. Dario Franco with Rum Antonessin rounding out your top 6. Ian Fisher, Matthew Lindy, and Armin Brusso, the 9 drivers that look to try and keep their hopes of a feature race entry in RX2 alive. They've only got one more opportunity, and it is in this one and only lone LCQ. So we wait on Kirtley. There he is. We now wait on Matthew Lindy to take to the grid, and traditional global rallycross style gridding here, 3 by 3, and it'll be 2 by 2 back from there. And we are underway. No Matthew Lindy on the grid, or he did take to the grid, excuse me, but already contact up front. Sierra Jr. gets turned by Valentine. He tried to cover up that inside spot. He still drifted it through the corner. Sierra saves it now outside of the transfer spots. Currently leads. Matthew Lindy in second. Does anybody joker early? Both of the front runners almost outbreak themselves, and Robert Kirtley does outbreak himself. Lindy, Van Weerl, the top 2 as they go over the jump for the first time. Dario Franco assumes 3rd here. Antonessin assumes 4th in a wild opening set of corners.
Yeah, it is hectic. I am glad to be in the booth today. Yeah, it's still getting crazy out there.
Dario Franco now to 3rd as Sim Van Weerl gets by for 2nd. Matthew Lindy gets out the best out of anybody in that exchange. He goes to the race lead. Franco and Van Weerl still battling as Van Weerl goes into the Joker. He completes it here on lap 2. Nobody elected to complete it on the opening lap of this race. An issue for Robert Kirtley. He's towed it back into the pit lane, so you'll see him at the top of the timing tower here until the rest of the field works their way by. But Lindy in the lead, Franco to 2nd. Rum Antonessin was also able to get around Sim Van Weerl. These 2 teammates are battling for 3rd place currently, and you really got, they're battling for, actually, it will end up being 3rd in this field, but you have to be careful when you're doing this here, Trevor, because these are 2 teammates. Any contact, and Ian Fisher is going to say thank you very much and push one of them, maybe even both, out of a transfer spot.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do is take out your teammate. They're being cautious right now. Let's hope they both make it through.
Oh, Van Weerl goes wide as Matthew Lindy, I believe, hit the wall. He did. A ton of damage to the number 3. Franco works his way by with Van Weerl in 3rd. Fisher now in 4th, and I believe Rum Antonessin with an issue before he went over the jump. Yes, a ton of damage to that number 298 is going to be out of the running for the spot in the feature. What on earth happened to the number 298? Oh, he made contact with Fisher. He got loose going through turn 3, it looked like there, Trevor, and simple enough, Fisher was there, and they just came together and looked like a racing incident back on the dirt.
Yeah, definitely a racing incident there. Like you said, Room got a little bit loose to that corner, and Ian was right there.
And they work their way back to the asphalt in the LCQ. 1 lap to go, this time by for Dario Franco. Matthew Lindy in 2nd, a great run so far for him. He still has a Joker lap left to play with, and is he going to take it this time? He has to. Right, he took it last time by, so that will now update, and Matthew Lindy safe through to the feature as Hector Sierra Jr. Jokers this time gets the ranking into turn number 1 correctly. Top 4 all have completed their Jokers. Now with Hector Sierra Jr. make it top 5. The Fisher hold on for a spot in P4 as the field works their way through the dirt. Dario Franco through the final corner. He'll go through asphalt and oval turns 3 and 4. Dario Franco will walk away with the final spot in the feature race. Give it up for the number 12 of Franco as he gets a great run and will continue to move on into the feature. And Ian Fisher makes it into fourth. A wonderful job for Racecraft's own, and we'll see him for RX1. And Sierra makes some good contact with him as well.
Yeah, a little bit of friendly love there at the end. Good job to Ian there. Stoked to see him in the feature.
And there's the final finishing results there. Dario Franco with the top spot. Lindy, Van Weerld, and Fisher will join him into the feature. Sierra Jr., Valentine, Brusso, Antonissen, and Kirtley, unfortunately, will have to head home for the evening. They have been eliminated. But what a start, Trevor. I mean, we know RX2 is always going to have the fireworks. It's always going to be exciting, but these drivers racing on this course, I think it really proves just how tough of a course it was, not only in real life when Red Bull Global Rallycross went here, but also how tough it was for the World Championship when this is the mainstay of the calendar.
Yeah, it's such a tight track with so many cars going into the same place. It's just bound for disaster. But it does make for a good broadcast, so we get that.
And drivers taking to the track for a warm-up now before we get started in the RX2 feature. But Trevor, I don't know if you, as an admin of this series, all the drivers are like your children, but I'm going to make you pick a favorite who is going to walk away with this feature race victory, because as far as the season so far, I mean, it's really all over the place in the win counter. I mean, we've got Tyler Campbell, who's won two feature races this season. Zach Knowles has won 2. He's graduated up to RX1, and Carson McKenna also with 2. So it's honestly kind of between Tyler Campbell and Carson McKenna, but I think anybody in this field, we've seen it tonight, has an opportunity to get this win.
Yeah, just want to give a quick shout out to Zach Knowles. He really picked up that car quick, and he made the choice to move up, which is awesome. Good for him. But as far as tonight, I'm going to have to go out on a limb and choose someone different tonight. I'm going to have to say Sean Winkler for the win.
Sean Winkler choice. I don't hate that choice. I definitely think it's a good chance for him to walk away with it. But as the warm-up concludes, we will get ready to go racing, which is going to be a very, very exciting and interesting feature race here from Lucas Oil Raceway IRP. And let's now take a look at your starting grid for RX2 feature race. It's Carson McKenna who will lead the field to green, Tyler Campbell in second, Scott Kerr, Andrew Howell, Sean Winkler, Paul Mikolajczyk rounding out the top 6. And rounding out the field, it is going to be Russell Peterson, Thomas Grady, Dario Franco, Matthew Lindy, Sim Van Weerld, and Ian Fisher rounding out the field of 12 that'll go racing here in the feature race. A lot on the line, being in round 7 of this campaign. Now is really the time for the championship favorites to shine through. Tyler Campbell's been trying to shine through, so has Carson McKenna. Can anybody from third on back in the points make anything happen tonight? Green light is on. RX2 feature race is underway, and it's a sleeping start for Carson McKenna, who gets away with the early lead. Tyler Campbell. Scott Kerr goes to the outside line, trying to fight in the Ford Fiesta. He'll go side by side with McKenna now as they all race through ovals, turns 1 and 2, spinning in the back. Nobody jokers off the rip, but Sim Van Weerld up and over, toes it back to the pit lane. Up in front, Tyler Campbell leads the way. Carson McKenna behind as everybody snakes their way through.
It was going so good until it didn't. It looks like we got Matthew Lind into the pits. Unfortunately, Russell Peterson. It's a rough start.
Carson McKenna sleeping off the start. He's already made his way up to second, but his main championship rival right now in Tyler Campbell assumes the race lead. Who's going to joker this time by? Does anybody choose to take it? From the lead, it will not be Campbell. It will not be McKenna either. Kerr stays out. So does Grady, Mikolajczyk, and more. First joker looks to be, I believe, Sim Van Weerld. No, it was Andrew Howell as the two teammates find each other on the track again. Winkler in 5th. Tries to look to the inside of Grady. Doesn't get there in time. Scott Kerr in 3rd. Now has make it 1, 2, 3, 4. Racecraft Rallycross machines breathing down his neck as the battle for the lead is at 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, at this point, Scott's holding on for everything he's got right now. Love seeing him in third, but he's got Grady right on him.
They continue back to the dirt for the 37 of Campbell. And back over the jump they go, and now starting to space out. A little bit of a battle here for third as Scott Kerr goes wide again in his Ford Fiesta. He has to be careful if he does that, Trevor. We've already seen that specific trouble zone of turn 3 tonight, and I don't think it's going to stop being a trouble zone. That just seems to be where everybody continues to make contact, and just like that, to the outside again on the final corner, and Thomas Grady looks to the inside. He's going for a podium and clears the Fiesta to the start finish.
I'm going for the Joker. Interesting tactic, but it may work out. Sean Winkler on the side of the curve right there.
Fighting their way back through to the dirt. Still in the lead is Tyler Campbell, but Carson McKenna has caught up. It is a relatively close gap now as the field works their way back through ovals, turn 3 and 4. Halfway done, next time by for Campbell and McKenna. Scott Kerr almost going to lose out on another spot. He will lose out on another spot to Paul Mikolajczyk. As that time by, Carson McKenna took to the Joker. So he's the first of our 2 race leaders to Joker with 5 to go this time by. As Campbell reacts, he's going to need to soon, Trevor, or else he's going to be at risk of possibly losing this race lead if his Joker goes awry.
Yeah, definitely needs to stay consistent right now. Looks like Carson's reeling him in. It should be a good finish. They got about 5 to go.
5 laps to go this time by the start finish. Campbell doesn't choose the Joker yet, so he stays out on the racetrack. As we get a great look from inside his sim rig, which is at the same time inside of his local Target soup aisle.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like he might be sponsored by his own last name there. I like that.
Campbell, last name, Campbell sponsor. I think it's about as perfect as you can get. I think he needs the Campbell's paint now. I think Zach Knowles needs to get on that.
Yeah, we're going to have to make something happen for sure.
4 to go for Tyler Campbell, and we'll see if he's going to walk away with yet another feature race win here at RX2, currently sitting at 3 all-time, 2 all-time, both of them coming this season. 6 total at the heat race, 7 total race wins for him in Racecraft Rallycross RX2. Almost goes off the side of the jump, but he's able to hold on, and you can see really through this sweeping dirt left-hander, Trevor, how much that track is starting to wear in. I mean, you can see it's starting to get a definitive groove on the inside line that is going to make these cars a little bit upset. These cars don't like to race on that, as I believe there was a car just flipping entering that dirt section. There was. Van Weird is beached. He tows it back to the pit lane.
Yeah, it looks like he might have got a little loose there and ended up doing some sort of board slide up on the rail there. But yeah, once the track wears in, it's hard to get the right grip, it seems like. And sometimes it grips up when you don't expect it to. Corner 2 and 3 are really a challenge once this track wears in.
Back to the front straightaway. This time by 2 laps to go for Tyler Campbell. The gap to Carson McKenna, 3 seconds right now. So not a threat for Campbell right now is McKenna. And Campbell now setting his bed. He already completed his Joker. So everybody now at the front has completed those Joker laps, and at this point, it's really just minimizing mistakes for Tyler Campbell. But back from there, it's Sean Winkler trying to get a spot on Thomas Grady. This is for the final spot on the podium.
Yeah, 2 to go. Sean's reeling in Grady right now. He's going for it.
Meanwhile, at the front of the field, white flag this time by for Tyler Campbell. Last week at Charlotte, he was able to grab his second ever Racecraft Rallycross feature win. He looks for 2 in a row and 3rd all time. Thomas Grady, Sean Winkler back to the dirt. They continue to fight for 3rd, but I don't think Winkler's going to have enough. These Subarus battling here. World Championship competitor for off-road and Tom Grady. Sean Winkler behind him. It's not going to be enough for Winkler to catch up, but through the final corner and across the start-finish line, it'll be 2 in a row in the feature races. Thomas Grady will end up 3rd, Carson McKenna 2nd, and Tyler Campbell gets the win from Lucas Oil Raceway.
Yeah, what a race for those top 3 there. Top 5 really had a really good showing.
What a race for Tyler Campbell. That makes it 2 in a row for him, and now he's becoming one of the championship contenders along with Carson McKenna. But Trevor, we can take a look at those full race results here as everybody comes across the start-finish line. With Campbell's win, look who's right there in 2nd, Carson McKenna. So McKenna playing damage control, and Campbell won't make up a ton of points on McKenna as he finished in P2.
Yeah, for sure. Carson at this point just needs to stay consistent, and he should hold on to this championship. It's good to see.
Back from there was Winkler, Paul Mikolajczyk rounding out the top 5. Kerr, Franco, Howell, Fisher, and Van Weerl the top 10. Rounding out the full field, it was Peterson and Lindy, who both got into an issue on the opening lap, and they both will not finish the race. They towed it back to the pit lane right after the green flag flew. But an intense way to start the evening of Racecraft Rallycross action, and what a win for Tyler Campbell, and we'll speak to him here in just a moment. 2 in a row for now one of the championship contenders for RX2, and we bring him up into the broadcast booth now. It's Tyler Campbell, and Tyler, from the soup aisle in your local Target, you're able to grab the 2nd feature race win in a row for you. I know this one's gotta feel good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously with the points championship the way it is, and Carson's been running insanely consistently all season, I knew he needed to come in and at least win. Really needed that qualifying bonus point. But you know what? I'll take it. I got my heat win, got the win in the feature. So, you know, regardless of how it goes with championship points, you know, I can be happy with that.
And moving on now, 3 feature race wins this season for you. Of course, all your feature race wins in your career of Racecraft Rallycross coming in this season. 3 rounds left, and you still have a good bit of ways to go to Carson McKenna. What's the strategy for the remainder of the season? Is it just to try and win as many things as you can? Because if you keep doing that, as long as Carson keeps finishing right behind you, it's not going to do much.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's I just have to go out there and just pure pace be faster. I really need to get all of the bonus points. I need to finish well in qualifying. Ideally, if we end up in the same heat, I can beat him in the heat as well, so he doesn't get the heat win. But most of that's not under my control. All I can do is go out there and do my best, set the fastest laps I can, and keep taking feature race wins. And you know, heck, if I lose a championship by 10, 15 points, but you know, I win the last 3 races, I can't be mad at that.
And of course, moving into the next round at Phoenix, where's your confidence level at there? One of the classic tracks, I like to say, of iRacing Rallycross, been around since the start.
Yeah, it's a fun track. I always like tracks that have that, you know, a lot of dirt. Obviously, the second to last corner here. Well, I guess the dirt right-handed sweeper is really fun. So it's very similar at Phoenix, and it's all about being precise. It's so precise to try to get the run on the front straight there. And I'm definitely going to need to go and practice. Like, I think the last time I run it was probably in Beetle Lights last season, probably. So I'm feeling decently confident. I know I have pace. It's just getting the consistency down is going to be the big thing.
Well, good luck in the rest of the season here, Tyler. Anybody you would like to give a shout out to here on Racecraft Rallycross?
Yeah, you guys as always. I mean, the broadcast y'all do is amazing. I always go back and rewatch them afterward, and I catch the RX1 after this. So, you know, amazing job doing that. Other than that, Team Watson Racing and Team Watson Racing Setups, Absolutely amazing group of guys providing support for me and the whole team every weekend, today, tomorrow, forever.
And Trevor T would like to know, what's your favorite soup?
Ooh, my favorite soup. I've gotten that question before. If we're talking about soups on this aisle, it's probably tomato. If we're talking about soups overall, it's probably Vietnamese pho noodle soup. That is thebomb.com. I cannot recommend it enough. It is so good.
Crazy. I'm surprised by the tomato one, but I like it. Let's go.
Oh yeah, you gotta take, what you do is you have to take some macaroni noodles. You gotta put it in the tomato soup, and then you make yourself a fancy grilled cheese.
Okay.
And then you have then it's like a tomato soup with pasta in it. It's like a really, it sounds like a really soupy spaghetti, but it's actually not bad.
So Josh, we're having a lunch made by Tyler Campbell here at the end of the season.
I think so.
Come
I
on
think
over.
he just
I'll
needs to
cater for
send us awesome good fancy grilled cheese and tomato soup.
I'll pack it up. I'll pack it up and throw it in a box, and I'll send it wherever in the country. How about that? And
Sounds good.
It's not moldy by the time it gets there.
Thank you for your time, Tyler. That was Tyler Campbell, your feature race winner tonight from Lucas Oil Raceway. And Trevor, I'll throw you into the fire. Carson McKenna is standing by with you. A good second place finish in the feature.
Yeah, Carson, how did you feel out there tonight, man?
But like I said, a lot of little tiny mistakes, a couple slowdowns, a couple times hitting the wall. But no, it felt pretty good.
Yeah, so we're coming up with I think there's 2 rounds left in the season. You do have the points lead. What are you going to be doing to make sure you keep that points lead?
I mean, just keep practicing, trying to nail down all the tracks, get good times, and try to stay close to Tyler and the features.
Heck yeah. Great finish out there today. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I want to thank Team Watson Racing and James Watson for having me on the team, and thank you all for the wonderful broadcast you always put on.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you, and good luck for next week, and keep on doing your thing, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Good to hear from Carson McKenna. Second place finish for him. And now we'll transition over to round out our podium places. It is Tom Grady. And Tom, good showing for you. And I think it was a good comeback drive for you as well. How did it feel from inside?
Yeah. Starting off with qualifying, I was mid-pack. It was a little bit of shock. I knew I had some work to do. And then a 5-second slowdown in my heat, I thought it was kind of sending me to the LCQ, but I got lucky there at the end with some cars getting tied up and made it to the main and try to play it conservative in the main, knowing there's going to be chaos, and try to just not be involved in the chaos. So I was able to keep picking off guys and work my way up to the podium.
And moving through this campaign, of course, this season looking like a good one for you in terms of points, but you just haven't been able to really reach victory lane like you've been trying to this season. With Phoenix, Knock Hill, and Atlanta left, do you think you can grab a heat race win, grab an LCQ, maybe even a feature race, and kind of put yourself a little bit more in that championship fight, but also just get your name on the all-time win list?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out these rallycross cars coming from the truck side of things. I think a realistic goal for me is the top 5 overall for the season. I'm going to have to miss next week's race, but hopefully we can finish out strong for the final week of the season.
A good finish for you here of third. Anybody you want to give a shout out to here on Racecraft TV?
Yeah, no, thanks for Aiden spotting me, telling me what marks I'm missing, what lines I'm hitting, and then all my Legion Speed Sport teammates get me tuned up for these and other races, and keep on making progress and getting faster.
And thank you very much for your time once again. That is Tom Grady, third place finish for him here in RX2. And Trevor, will wrap up with you. The RX2 guys put on a show, and the championship's only going to get more exciting from here, with really being now a deadlock between Carson McKenna and Tyler Campbell.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun to watch, and man, they're going to be throwing swings out there.
And we hope that you'll join us in 1 week's time when the RX2 campaign continues from virtual Phoenix. Well, RX2 is done. The less experienced drivers of Racecraft Rallycross, but now some of the best from the World Championship of both off-road and of Rallycross are getting ready to go head-to-head. Who is going to walk away with tonight's RX1 feature race victory? Well, you have to stay tuned to find out. Up next, RX1 gets started on Racecraft TV. And welcome back to Racecraft TV's coverage of Racecraft Rallycross. It's time for RX1 and some of the best to ever do it get on the racetrack. I'm Joshua Lee, still with you alongside not Dane Baird, that never updated. I'm alongside Ian Fisher, and as I mentioned earlier, Dane taking some much needed rest and relaxation after a pretty hectic work weekend. We let him have the day off from Racecraft Rallycross, but Ian from the track now joining me in the booth and transitioning from RX2 over to RX1, which as we take a look at the point standings, oh my, is it getting interesting with Jacob Rafos in the lead, Josh Fox trying to play catch up, Connor Parisi's there, Tommy Makinen even after missing a couple of rounds is there, and so is Garrett Maines in P5.
And not only is it interesting and tight in the point standings, Josh, but you and I were talking a little bit before we came into this section of the broadcast. This is possibly one of the most stacked fields we've had in maybe any Racecraft Rallycross race ever. We got Jacob Rafos out there, Garrett Maines, Connor Parise, all former World Rallycross competitors of the iRacing Rallycross Championship. And then going down further in the field, Josh Fox, Josh Clogg, all these drivers, Josh. It's absolutely stacked tonight.
And as they work their way through practice right now, getting ready for qualifying to begin, but let's take a look at that track information as well, which you just got off racing on this track, Ian. It is not as easy as it looks. Yes, it's only a couple of hairpins and a couple of wide turns, but it is very difficult to get right, especially the hard braking zones that you have to do on dirt, as well as the very, very hard braking zone for turn 1 that is right at the exit of a high-speed joker.
It's a very difficult track, but for a rallycross driver, it's very satisfying once you get it down, and then after that, it's very enjoyable to drive. You mentioned that hard braking zone in the turn 1. The car gets really light around there, and then that dirt section through 2 and 3 is very flowy once you figure it out, and you can throw the car around and really have a lot of fun with that. And then that hairpin you see, not necessarily a hairpin, but that long sweeping turn 4 there, you have to control your throttle into turn 5, and that's where a lot of mistakes happen, Josh. But then after that, it's just as fast as you can back to the start-finish line.
Field getting ready for qualifying now, and we'll take a look at our points format. This is how these drivers will be earning points and how the RX2 drivers earn points, and it will be how these RX1 drivers are also going to earn points. Qualifying starting immediately is very important. 6 points will be on the board for the pole sitter, and then you can go all the way down to P6. 1 point will be awarded to the 6th place qualifier. Heat races, very important as well, especially tonight, Ian, when everybody in these heat races will receive points, but only 8 points for first place, and then 15 for the winner of the feature, and the bottom 2 in the feature race as well will earn 0 points. Only the top 10 earning points. And for the championship competitors and Josh Fox, Connor Parisi, who are trying to catch up to Jacob Rafos, they're trying to prevent as many points going to Rafos as possible, and it starts right here with trying to get a faster time in qualifying.
And it also puts a lot of weight on qualifying as well, because there's a points value attached to it, like you mentioned, Josh. So you don't see any of these drivers sitting out for the most part and not taking a lap time and then just trying to work all their way back through the field if there's a track that they don't like. It kind of forces you to put down a lap time and really battle your way through the format.
Field taking to the track now for qualifying as we get ready for an Volkswagen Beetle.
This
Taking me back
is...
to 2020 World Championship.
I was just gonna say, if anybody out here who's watching right now watched the 2020 iRacing World Championship, Garrett Maines had a lot of success and a few interesting encounters in this Volkswagen Beetle scheme here, the Smithfield paint, Josh. So yeah, this brings back some memories for me as well.
I have to send this to Dane Baird because when we first covered Rallycross in the iRacing Rallycross qualifying series for the World Championship back in 2020, and then we covered Team Yokohama in the Team Yokohama team stream on Apex Racing TV for the 2020 World Championship, and I mean every time it would be this Volkswagen Beetle, it would be Garrett Maines behind the wheel with Smithfield on the car, and it's just insane to see it back. But he sits fourth currently on the leaderboard, and not the best showing in qualifying currently for Garrett Maines. Definitely not terrible, but at this point, Jacob Rafos to the top, Tommy Makinen, look at that gap, 2/1000ths of a second separating the top two right now in qualifying.
Yeah, that's for Rallycross, that's a pretty big gap right there once it starts to split off between second and down on between Parise, Maines, and Edmondson from there, Josh. And it's so hard on this track through this section right now that you see Makinen navigating to try to carry as much speed, but then also get slowed down here for this tight left-hand turn into the flowing dirt section, which I think Makinen is done with his turn right now. But you have to really come off this hairpin corner and then carry a lot of speed and then slow down very quickly, and it's so easy for the car to get upset and for that back end to come around. We've seen it happen so many times.
Rafos comes across the line to complete another lap. Not going to be enough to catch up to Makinen. Maines closes the gap to Connor Parisi in front. Edmondson in fifth currently. Zach Knowles stopped on the outside of the dirt section. Rafael Franco, P10 currently as he works his way through the dirt in the number 36. And tonight, a bit up in the air as to what is going to be our race format. Looks like it will be 2 heats, top 3 advancing in both, and then dual LCQs, which we can assume another 3 advancing from those. We'll see if anything gets changed. We'll keep an eye on the ever-changing race format in the iRacing server. And we'll see what we end up racing tonight. But as of right now in qualifying, 19 drivers taking to the track to put in down a time. And Josh Log, 1.4 seconds off the pace. Not looking the best from the number 199 currently on the track. And we'll see what he can do on this lap. I believe he does have, or has no laps left. Zach Knowles still has a lap left, but he's sitting in the pit lane at the moment.
It's getting mentally focused, Josh. I think that's what he's trying to do right now. Just really zen in and focus down for that lap time, maybe. That or he's just kind of just waiting to see what happens. One of the two.
I think he might just be hanging out currently, but where we sit now with a minute left in qualifying, looks like everybody, for the most part, is back into the pits. But Tommy Makinen making a return after undoubtedly a couple of weeks off, but now coming back in, setting the fastest lap. I don't think Tommy Makinen is really going to be off his game at all.
Going back to, it was my first broadcast, Josh, the race to the summit we did here on Racecraft TV. I think Tommy Makinen won that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't actually know. That would be a good thing to go find.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to find that here in the meantime. But the point is it's exciting to see what Tommy Makinen can do here on the Rallycross circuit. I've seen it a few times before, but I've never seen him here at IRP. And yeah, it doesn't come out every single time, but you go down to the rest of this field, look at some other notable names. You've got Garrett Maines, Jakob Rafos, as always, Marcos Palacio, Josh Clog, you mentioned, kind of interesting to see him down at the bottom of the leaderboard here, but I do know that IRP is not one of his strongest tracks. I know he prefers some other ones and doesn't necessarily prefer this track, Josh, so we'll see what he can do here once the heat races start.
Well, just like that, qualifying is done, and we get ready to send 3 drivers through from this opening heat race. Let's take a look at your starting grid here for heat race number 1. Tommy Makinen starts on the pole. Josh Fox to his outside with Garrett Maines, Christian Rafas Lindo, Alexander Abedi, and Rafael Franco, your top 6. With rest of the field going to Benjamin Forster, Josh Clog, Danny Aish, and Steve Ainge. 10 drivers taking the green flag here for heat race number 2. It will be 9 drivers taking the green flag for heat race number 2. We'll only run 2 heat races tonight, and we'll see if we end up running either 2 or 1 LCQ. It depends on what the iRacing service is going to decide really to do. So, right now, though, as the drivers take to the starting grid, this is going to be an interesting opening heat race because we have Tommy Makinen at the front. We have Josh Fox, who is another driver that's hungry to get back into Racecraft TV Rallycross victory lane. But we also have Garrett Maines, who's returning for the first time in a couple of weeks as well, as long as Tommy Makinen on the pole.
Yeah, watch Maines on that outside line here, Josh. In the higher levels of Rallycross, this outside line is a huge advantage here at IRP. We'll see what happens.
Josh Fox, Garrett Maines tied for second on the all-time win list for Racecraft Rallycross. We are green in RX1 heat race number 1. And it's a great start on the outside for Josh Fox. He's going to beat that Black Star Racing entry of Tommy Makinen on the inside. 3 wide contact, May one driver into the wall and another driver into the wall. That's Raffas, Lindo, and Klog getting tangled together as Makinen jokers. So does Maines behind. It looks like Alexander and Betty joined him as well. But Josh Fox around the outside, no joker, holds the race lead to the dirt.
And Aish is around in the background. He got spun around by another car. I'm not sure who it was. It was either the 24 or possibly Palacio. I'm not entirely sure. Or possibly Forrester, excuse me. So going back to the field here, Fox, Makinen, Maines, your top 3, Josh. And so far, all those drivers have decided to take the joker on the first lap. Really good job of merging there. It can really get out of hand quick.
Across the line, you'll see them all update on our timing tower of who exactly did end up taking that joker lap. And it looks like Makinen and Maines are the 2 that did. And Rafael Franco also did as well. Benjamin Forster, I believe, just took the joker that time by as Garrett Maines is all over the back bumper of Tommy Makinen and is trying to go for that race for the second spot. Remember, top 3 will advance their way into the feature race. This is not important for the transfer, but it's important for grid position as we go on board with Garrett Maines in more ways than one.
I was actually about to ask you, Josh, if you have the GoPro camera, and there we go. You see it on your screen right now. Him trying to chase down Makinen. He had a really good run that last time around through the dirt section, but wasn't able to get the speed. We'll see what he's able to do here coming through turn 2, Josh.
Trying to navigate his way by. You can see how challenging it gets in these technical dirt sections. He slides back to the inside of Makinen,
so freaking
but did not
slow.
have enough of momentum. And as they work their way back through the corner, this is going to be an interesting finish here as Tommy Makinen trying to cover off the spot on Garrett Maines. So close to getting a slowdown there, but just misses out.
Yeah, Garrett Maines holding on to that transfer position right now, Josh. So in a good spot, but you know he's competitive and wants to chase down Makinen. He tried to make that pass in that spot through the dirt corner twice. It's a really good spot there. Trying to make a pass here on the racetrack and not use the joker lap, but both times just not able to get the speed down the straightaway afterwards.
Up and over the jump for the battle for second, but the battle at the front is non-existent right now with Josh Fox. 7 total heat race wins in his Racecraft Rallycross career. I mentioned he's tied for second on the all-time win list with Garrett Maines. Jacob Rafos has the lead in the all-time win list. 19 wins across 11 heats and 8 features. White flag out for heat race number 1. We'll see Rafos in heat race number 2. Fox and Makinen and Maines are looking to try and work their way into the feature race. No pressure from Alexander and Betty as Maines gets good shot to Tommy Makinen over the jump. Side Volkswagen versus Subaru.
And this is incredible, Josh. Both of them already made the feature race right now, and they're still battling. They got to be careful and make sure they don't take each other out because there's enough time right now that anybody in third or fourth place, or I'm sorry, fourth or fifth place can make the jump on him right now. They're going to be battling side by side at the line even.
Fox with the win. Maines is able to hold him off at the line. Maines gets second. Makinen ends up third in a thriller finish of heat race number 1. And if this is going to set the tone for the rest of RX1 in, oh, this is going to be a fun night.
And Garrett Maines tried to make that pass a few times, Josh. We watched it here. I think it was 2 or 3 times he tried to make that pass work in the same spot and finally able to make it done on the final lap to steal P2 away from Makinen.
Everybody else advances to the LCQs. Jacob Rafas, we get a good look at him now as your pole sitter of heat race number 2. Connor Parisi will start second with Josh Edmondson, David Schofield, Marcus Palacio, and Zach Knowles, your top 6. Cohen Adder, Aiden Irvine, and Brian Sawyer are going to round out your field of 9 that go racing here in heat race number 2. It was a very exciting one for heat race 1. Let's make it 2 as we go green, working their way through the opening corner now. Through oval turn 3 and 4, it's Rafas versus Parisi, 2 Jim Beaver Esports teammates, and around the outside, here comes Connor Parisi, now trying to hold off the spot on Rafas, but Jacob Rafas very aggressive to the inside, side by side to the dirt, and he points the car perfect to the race lead, goes to 13.
And Parisi was really challenging Rafas through the asphalt section of the track, but once we got back to the dirt, Rafas snatched the position away and is now going to have to try to hold on his Jim Beaver Esports teammate, and I believe, yes, that's the 58 of Josh Edmondson as well. So right now, Josh, all 3 podium spots in this heat race at least occupied by Jim Beaver Esports drivers.
And you can actually go down to P4. Zach Knowles, a member of Jim Beaver Esports as well in that 099. A great run for him, currently in 4th, but has to catch up to Edmondson in front in the number 58 if he wants a spot in the feature. Joker lap that time by from Connor Parisi. He will stay behind Jacob Rafas on the racetrack. Cohen Adder, the only driver to Joker on lap number 1. So back from there, Rafas still leads the way, but Edmondson in 3rd needs to be careful. Looking at Josh Edmondson, 2 heat race wins in his Racecraft Rallycross career, 6 wins total, 4 coming in LCQs. I know he does not want to end up back in an LCQ, and honestly, for Josh Edmondson in his Racecraft Rallycross career, it's been an uphill battle, but it seems like this season has been one of his best as he looks to qualify for yet another feature race. He jokers this time by lap 3.
I was thinking the same exact thing, Josh, especially last season. It seemed like Josh Edmondson was on the tail end of some unfortunate incidents, but this year he's been able to put it together, and like you said, trying to make it without going through the LCQ this time tonight.
Tail end of some unfortunate incidents, I think, can be the story of Josh Edmondson's Off-Road Championship Series season as well. I mean, I don't want to put salt on a wound, but it definitely not the best season in terms of luck for Josh Edmondson. But it seems like every other corner he was there battling for race wins, and he's going to try and do it here tonight in Racecraft Rallycross RX1, but he's going to have to beat Jacob Rafas, who is your leader when it comes to the points championship by a considerable margin, and he is your leader on the all-time win list. Currently, he sits at 19 total wins in Racecraft Rallycross, and that comes across 11 heats and 8 features. He's looking to make it 12 total heat race wins here as he dives his way into the corner. I mean, what else can you say about Jacob Rafas other than in the next season of the World Championship, everybody's going to have to watch out.
No, it's no secret that Jacob, or J-Bob as he's called, is one of the fastest drivers around on any kind of dirt road discipline, and really anything you put him on in iRacing in general. The joke is he always has his potatoes and sauce, and that's how he's so fast. It's just is one of his favorite things to eat, and so he always jokes around, and that's what makes him so fast. But he's a young kid. I think he's only maybe 15, 16 years old, but puts pretty much everybody that he races to shame, Josh.
Of course, a race winner in the iRacing Off-Road Championship Series as well. I'd be remiss if I did not mention that. A beautiful run in the Off-Road Championship Series this season for him. But as they work their way now out of the final corner and back to the start-finish line, Jacob Rafas, 12 total heat race wins now for the Scandinavian as his Jim Beaver Esports teammates in Parisi and Edmondson will join him in the feature.
And kind of going back to Jacob Rafas a little bit here, Josh, it's surprising how much these young drivers are making so much of an impact on the world stage of iRacing. You mentioned Jacob Rafas, but also not with us tonight, but races Racecraft Rallycross as well. Connor Berry. It's just surprising how fast these young kids are these days, Josh.
Well, now we get set for the first LCQ. We will run 2 tonight. Both of them will have top 3 advancing into the feature race. Let's take a look at your starting grid now with Alexander Abetti on the pole, Rafael Franco, Steve Ainge, Benjamin Forster, Danny Aish, Josh Clogg rounding out the top 6, and rounding out your field will be Christian Rafus Lindo. So 7 drivers will take the green flag. Remember, 3 of them will advance into the feature race, but this is the first of 2 LCQs now tonight. Green flag is up. We are underway for the first of 2. And on the inside, Alexander Abetti in the Ford Fiesta gets the early lead. 3 wide for second place. As Steve Ainge in the 7 trying to go the long way around. It will work. He goes for the race lead. 2 Fiestas battle for the opening lap race lead as they dive into the dirt. One driver dived into the Joker and contact behind. And around goes Rafael Franco in the 36.
And Abetti, the front of the pack, does an excellent job sealing off the rest of the pack through the first couple of turns and through the first carnage we saw there, Josh. And then now it's out to a pretty sizable lead. It's going to be up to his teammate Forster to chase him down.
Side by side for 4th place, Rafus Lindo goes by, and Josh Clogg way up to the outside in the dirt section and hits that outside wall. Alexander Abetti, what a beautiful start for that Ford Fiesta as he walks away with that early lead. It's going to be important if he's able to keep it. 66 dives into the Joker. Forster to the outside, stays out. These 2 teammates running different manufacturers tonight, but both of them on the same team. You know Forster wants to be careful racing around Abetti. He's still going to get a bit aggressive. A little bit of contact to the leader, Abetti, up in front.
A little bit of contact to leader up in front, and also back in the pack, you see Rafus Lindo there is slow. He had a little bit of contact with, I believe it was the 199 car, Clogg, coming through the dirt section of the S's, went off into the grass. Really got a good job to recover at least that much, Josh.
Let's take a look at what happened at Christian Rafus Lindo. Another Jimmy Greasewood's career. Oh, it was Aish on the outside that hit the tire barrier and sent Rafus Lindo into the grass. Doesn't look like any other contact other than that, but just an unfortunate series of events there for Christian Rafus Lindo that sent him wide. But at the front, still battling between 2 teammates is Forster and Aish, 2nd and 3rd, still have yet to Joker. Same thing with Clogg, who has caught up to Aish, and now with 5/10 separating these 2, this has become a battle for the transfer.
I was going to say Aish was the benefactor of that contact with Lindo, but now he's right now being hounded by Josh Clogg at the 199 car. And Clogg has been fast after having struggled a little bit in qualifying. Right now on the racetrack during race pace, he looks a lot better, Josh.
Now into the Joker, that time by goes Forster. He comes out 2nd place, still relatively close to Abetti. Danny Aish, Joker lap completed for him. Josh Clogg still has yet to Joker, but that's going to be a good Joker for Josh Clogg whenever he comes in, because it will give him a little bit of an advantage towards Danny Aish, but it's also going to set him up for an inside move into the opening corner. White flag this time by, so he will be forced to take it. Almost side by side between the 2 teammates at the front, but they stay cordial. White flag this time.
Yeah, and if you're the one on the outside there following the person who's jokered, especially if you're coming in at the same time, Josh, it's so hard to judge that. And actually what ended my feature night a little, oh, what happened there? It looks like Lindo took that maybe a little bit too quickly, Josh, and didn't recover.
Lindo came a little bit too hot into the Joker, and it looked like he just tapped the wall, went wide at the opening corner, and no contact with any other cars. So he'll stay down in 6th. Josh Clogg is not going to be able to qualify for this feature. So into the feature goes Aish, into the feature goes Forster, and into the feature goes Abetti, as Alexander Abetti will win the first LCQ of the evening. And what a run it was for Alexander Abetti to get this win.
And starting on the pole as well, Josh, it's not really the greatest place to be, especially here at IRP, because you get such a run on the outside of the corner. And Abetti was able to hold off everybody and into the first couple of corners, avoided a lot of contact, and then just drove away from there. Great run.
We now get ready for our second LCQ of the night. Coming at her, David Schofield on the front row. Back from there, Brian Sawyer, Aiden Irvine, Zach Knowles, and Marcus Palacio. Only 6 drivers will take part here in the second LCQ of the evening as we get ready to go racing once again. Green light goes on. We're immediately underway here from Lucas Oil Raceway IRP LCQ number 2. And Adder on the inside looks to try and beat David Schofield back to the start-finish line for the first time. Dual spinners in the back. I believe that's Palacio and Irvine as Adder leads. Schofield now on the outside line with Zach Knowles. Adder jokers into the grass. Contact with Schofield pushes him into the tire barrier. And it's all carnage at the front as the 88 almost goes over.
I believe everybody in the field so far, Josh, has had some kind of contact here on lap 1, and it's such a shame for Zach Knowles because he was a rocket up through the field. He got such a great jump and to split the leaders and was trying to make a run for the lead when he got caught up in contact there.
It almost was a complete roadblock. Luckily, momentum kept going and everybody was able to make it through. Let's see if we can see it all, just a glimpse of what happened there. Need to go back a little bit further. So one driver goes around in the back, and then it was 3 wide here for a moment. Adder jokers, slides through the grass, hit Goldfield. Knowles hits the 88 of Sawyer. Sawyer hits Adder, that sends him up and over. That was the perfect definition of a chain reaction wreck there, Ian, because I can't even tell really what started it. I guess Adder coming out of the Joker lap, but other than that, everybody got a piece of that.
Yeah, really nothing that anybody did necessarily wrong except for maybe Adder, but it was a mistake. It wasn't anything intentional, just kind of overcooked the corner coming out of the Joker, and it's so easy to do, and just the way this track is configured, Josh, that happens sometimes.
Adder back to the lead with Marcus Palacio jokering that last time by. David Schofield still has a joker that he needs to play with. When is he going to do it is my question, because he sits third. Aiden Irvine behind is 4 seconds back. His joker lane's already done. But Marcus Palacio in second, 6/10 up from David Schofield. Schofield might have an opportunity to overtake here if he jokers within the next few laps.
Right now, if I was Schofield, I would take it. If I was any farther out, I would save it and try to shorten that gap up a little bit with Palacio before I would try to take it. But right now is a good spot, Josh, as you mentioned. But he decides not to. He's going to stay out right now, like I said, and try to shorten that gap up a little bit. And he's doing a great job of it so far, really putting the pressure on Palacio through the weaving dirt section. And he's going to try to catch him going over the jump here. Such a hard spot to keep control of the car. You really want to land flat and have yourself set up good for this corner here, Josh.
Battle for second place continues as Cohen Adder looks to run away at the front of the field. This will be Racecraft Rallycross win number 1 for Cohen Adder if he is able to get it. And I believe Alexander Abedi as well. That was his first ever win in RX1 competition. I believe his last win came in RX2 competition. Yes, he had 2 wins in RX2 competition, a heat and an LCQ. So he was able to get an LCQ tonight. First time he'll go on the RX1 all-time win list. And Cohen Adder, as he comes over the jump, he's going to look for that start-finish line and be yet another first-time winner in RX1.
Good job by Cohen Adder as well, a really talented former motocross rider out of Australia. He used to do freestyle motocross as well, Josh, so he's used to this kind of racing, at least on a motorcycle, and coming over and doing it now in iRacing and the rallycross side.
Cohen Adder will win LCQ number 2, and grabbing the final 2 transfer spots, Palacio and Schofield will advance. Knowles unfortunately does not, along with Irvine and Sawyer. But checkered flag comes out of LCQ number 2. Let's take a look at those full finishing results. It's Adder, Palacio, Schofield, Knowles, Irvine, and Sawyer that ran in that second LCQ. Adder, Palacio, and Schofield will advance into the feature race. Well, now that sets us up rather perfectly here for the feature race of RX1, and myself, Joshua Lee, back with you alongside Ian Fisher. And Ian, this is going to be interesting because starting at the front, of course, I mean, we think about our heat race winners and the transferees for our heat races in the top 3 of both were some of the best iRacing Rallycross has to give, and they'll all be starting top 6 diving into turn number 1.
It's so important here at IRP to get yourself in front early, Josh, and try to get in front of all the inevitable carnage that seems to happen behind you in the middle of the pack. So You said it, some of the 3 best drivers in the world in the front of the pack. But even farther back from there, I look at some of the other guys that we have back there. We're going to have, Josh Edmondson, I think, starts farther back in the pack. Some guys like that have an opportunity here. If anything happens at the front between those leaders that you mentioned, they have an opportunity here to sneak in there and try to give themselves a win as well.
And going into tonight, I mean, those points are honestly not close. It is Jacob Rafas kind of running away right now, 23 points between himself and Josh Fox. You got to look back another 16 to find Parisi and Makinen and Garrett Maines. You can include him there as well. But coming into tonight, with only 3 rounds left after this is going to be an important time for anybody other than Jacob Rafas to earn points. And I think tonight might be their best shot.
Yeah, Fox does have an opportunity here. He has a pretty good starting position, and he finds himself in a spot where if anything happens to Rafas, maybe on the start of this race, he has an opportunity to make up some points here. And you mentioned Connor Parise as well. He finds himself in a similar position. Makinen doing a great job to stay in 4th place at points, even though he's kind of running a part-time schedule, Josh. So even he has a chance here to make up some all-important points.
Remember, 2 drop weeks are taken into account. So that means that these drivers can miss a bit of time and still be okay when it comes to the points. But it's time for RX1 feature racing from Lucas Oil Raceway. It's Josh Fox and Jacob Rafas, who are 2 heat race winners, 1st and 2nd. Garrett Maines, Connor Parisi, 2nd in both of the heat races, with Tommy Makinen and Josh Edmondson, the final transferees from both of our heat races tonight. Back from there, it was Alexander Abetti and Cohen Adder at 7th and 8th, with Benjamin Forster, Marcus Palacio 9th and 10th. Danny Age and David Schofield will round out your field as we get ready to go racing under the lights here in RX1 at the beautiful Lucas Oil Raceway, otherwise known as IRP, the Indianapolis Raceway Park. RX1 has been a roller coaster of emotions, not only tonight, but this season. 3 rounds left after the conclusion of this one. Who's going to walk away a winner at IRP? Let's go racing. It's the dive through. Ovals turn 3 and 4. The first corner here on the track. As they race their way through, Garrett Maines will bump Rafas out of the way, but it's all Josh Fox. A beautiful start from the number 12 Williams Esports entry. He's going to joker quick. Following him in is Parisi. Edmondson does as well. Maines trying to go around the outside. They all make contact. Rafas is around in the grass. Fox is as well. Rafas trying to come back on. Gets blocked. He'll fall all the way to 12th with Garrett Maines, Tommy Makinen, and Connor Parisi, the top 3 over the jump.
The argy-bargy between the top 3 here now leads to a race between Maines, Makinen, and it looks like Parise there for the top 3. That really shakes up our field and honestly has a little bit some championship implications here, Josh. But Rafas now falling to the bottom of the leaderboard here. The rest of the field is going to work their way through turns oval 3 and 4. Look at the 58 car and Josh Edmondson now trying to fight off Cohen Adder there in the 131. Maines is going to joker now and try to hold off Makinen for the rest of this race.
A beautiful start from Cohen Adder, by the way, and able to hold on after qualifying in from the LCQ. But Garrett Maines leads the way. He's got Makinen behind. Parisi is there as well. Remember, out of these top 3, the only driver to have completed his joker is Parisi. And I'll add in Josh Edmondson in the 58 as well, because he sits 4th watching this battle in front. He's also taken his joker lap. Top 2 still need to take that joker at one point in this race, and I think now really is the point where they have to start thinking about that joker lane strategy. And yes, it's less than normal with it being a shorter joker, but you also have to be smart about when you take it. Makinen's in this time, gets closer to Garrett Maines, doesn't lose out to Connor Parisi.
Really good job by Makinen right now. I was just about to say, if you're Makinen, I think you have to make your move if you want to go right now. But the rest of the field, you can be kind of strategic with it, Josh. It's not as much of a shortcut as you kind of think it is, but it is a treacherous merge that we've seen so many times tonight. We go on board here with Garrett Maines, excuse me. You see right now the focus he has and how much he has to put into the wheel. And you also get a great look, of course, with the GoPro camera as well outside the back of his car. You see how he's trying to hold off Makinen here, but Makinen's not giving up. He's really giving Maines all he can handle here.
On board now with Tommy Makinen in that Subaru. Maines with the joker lap completed, sits at the front of the field now. And everybody in the top 11, top 9, excuse me, have taken to the jokers. So this really now sits with this battle for the race lead, which is going to continue to get interesting because look at Parisi behind. Look at Josh Edmondson. I mean, how aggressive are they willing to get? Of course, Connor Parisi, a former RX1 champion of last season, is going to try and go battling with Garrett Maines, our season 1 champion. And then Tommy Makkinen's there as well. He's never won a Racecraft Rallycross championship, but this season alone, in the first 3 rounds, he walked away with 2 of our feature race wins.
Last time through the hairpin, Makinen did have the quarter panel there. He does that time as well as Maines coming to the jump here, and he's racing a clean so far. But it's only lap 5, Josh. We'll see what happens when it comes down to the white fact lap as Maines continues to hang on in that Volkswagen Beetle, and that kind of brings up an interesting point about car selection here, especially on a tight track like IRP. You see it in Barcelona as well. Some of these upper-level drivers prefer to take the cars with the shorter wheelbase, like the Volkswagen Beetle. You see Garrett Maines doing that here tonight, and it's paying off for him.
Subarus throughout the field, other than your current race leader in Garrett Maines, choosing the Volkswagen Beetle, and other than Alexander Abedi, who unfortunately wrecked out about 3 laps ago. He towed it back into the pit lane. He started with a Ford Fiesta tonight. So 5 laps to go, 4 to go this time by as they go back over the jump that sits in the pit lane here of Lucas Oil Raceway IRP, and through the pit lane entry now that they're going through of the oval, and then back onto the oval that spits out right at the entrance to the pit lane in turn 3. And they'll work their way back through turn 4 and to the front straightaway. Maines now extending that gap, and we'll see how close it gets back through the dirt this time, but 4 to go. And Maines is looking like it's going to be another consistent finish for him. Remember, last time we saw Garrett Maines go to Racecraft TV Rallycross Victory Lane, you have to go all the way back. If we're talking about a feature, you have to go back to round 5 of season 1 in Atlanta. That was the last time he went to Racecraft Rallycross Victory Lane in the feature. If you want to talk about a heat race, we only have to go back a few weeks to Iowa, where he got the heat race number 2 win. But Garrett Maines, we talk about how much success he has, not only in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, not only in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. I mean, we also have to talk about Racecraft Rallycross. 9 total wins, but 7 of those come in heat races, only 2 in feature races, and both came in season 1.
Flat out, Josh, he's one of the best sim racing drivers in the world, especially on the iRacing surface right now. And these drivers are making this look so easy right now, Josh. I wanted to touch on this a little bit. It is so difficult to drive around here. This hairpin turn that they're coming up to right now takes so much braking, even a little bit of handbrake, excuse me, to get the car rotated through the corner. And then this turn is so flat, and these cars have 4-wheel drive. There's so much understeer, so it's hard to really get the car settled down into this corner. And Garrett Maines, Tommy Makinen, and Connor Parisi making it look so easy right now, Josh.
Back in the battle for the lead, Maines gets aggressive as they work their way through turn 2. Makinen trying to find any possible way he can get by in that Black Star Racing Subaru. Gonna be white flag this time by. And for Garrett Maines, he's looking to try and hold on for 1 more lap to walk away. Racecraft Rallycross feature race winner, and I mentioned it's only going to be his 3rd all-time. And it'll add to his 9 total, and he already did tonight. This will be 11 total for Garrett Maines. The white flag is out. 1 final lap here from Lucas Oil Raceway. Returning here to this track, hasn't been on the World Championship calendar since the 2020 season, and Garrett Maines decides in the Volkswagen Beetle to break out an old scheme as well from his qualifying series days when he qualified for the Rallycross World Championship, and through the 2020 season, this was his usual paint, his usual car, and he gets his usual success when he throws it back out of oval turn number 4. Garrett Maines is a winner again in Racecraft Rallycross.
You see a little bit of relief there on the face of Garrett Maines, and Makinen really gave it all he could, and maybe that's why he sees a little bit of sigh of relief there out of Maines. I don't know how much longer he could have held on there for the Black Star driver of Tommy Makinen, because he was giving it all he could to try to run him down, Josh.
That was an intense feature race, and congratulations to Garrett Maines. We'll speak to him, Tommy Makinen, and Connor Parisi in our post-race show. but everybody is across the line, and we'll take a look at these results. And I think the most surprising thing here, Ian, as we get started looking at these, Jacob Rafas, 9th place. I mean, yes, he has 2 drop weeks, but now he has to take a drop. He needs to be really, really perfect when it comes to these last 3 rounds, or he is at jeopardy of now losing this championship.
Ideally, you want to use your drop weeks not for a race where you wreck out. It's just a race where you maybe have a bad night and finish maybe 5th or 6th place, but you don't want to use it on a night that you finished 9th. You want to use it on something better than that, or maybe a night you can't be there, Josh. That's really going to hurt Jakob Rafas going through the rest of the championship, but he has a sizable lead still.
So Mayans grabs the win. Makinen, Parisi, Edmondson, Addard, Aish, Fox, Forster, Rafas, Palacio, the top 10. And rounding out your field of drivers that finished the race was David Schofield and Alexander Abedi. Not exactly sure what happened to the 99, but he did not end up finishing that race. But RX1 feature race is over, and if this is going to set the tone for the remainder of the season. And next week when we go to Phoenix, I think it's really going to be all gloves off for these drivers, because now I think we've shown that Jacob Rafas is beatable, and we didn't see that for 3 weeks. Iowa, Barcelona, Charlotte, all 3 features, all 3 went to Jacob Rafas.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of contact tonight, Josh, but yes, you mentioned it. He's human, he is vulnerable, he can be beat, and I think these drivers know that going through the rest of the season. I do know if you're a driver like Garrett Maines, Phoenix is one of your best racetracks, and a lot of these drivers love Phoenix for how aggressive you can be out there, so it's going to be a treat for us all to watch, and we'll see what happens there out there in the desert heat, and see if the heat turns up on the racetrack as well.
The heat turned up here to Lucas Oil Raceway IRP, because even with the lights down, the intensity ramps up for Racecraft Rallycross, and it was a beautiful run to the finish. We'll start with our 3rd place finisher in Connor Parisi, and we'll get him up here to the broadcast booth now. And Connor, it was a bit of an uphill battle for you, but at the end of the day, 2nd place in your heat race and then a 3rd place in the feature. Definitely nothing to scoff at there. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good race. I didn't have any time to practice this week, so I was happy just to be starting up at the top half of the field. And then I knew once the track got worn in that Garrett and the Beetle would be pretty hard to beat, so I was kind of just hoping Tommy and Garrett would start fighting, and those guys don't make mistakes, so happy for a podium.
And of course, when you came into tonight, looking at the points, it's relatively close between yourself and Josh Fox, only about 16 points. But then it's a pretty marginal gap of about 39 leading up to Jacob Rafas. Do you think with 3 rounds left, Phoenix, Knock Hill, and then we round out the calendar from the virtual Atlanta, that you can make a run at the championship? Or is it going to be almost impossible for you at this point?
Yeah, defending the championship's going to be tough. I know with the drop weeks, I'm not sure what those will look like, because I missed a round or 2, I think. Definitely at least 1. So we'll keep digging. We'll see. Maybe if J-Bob sleeps through a race, we'll get lucky.
Phoenix next week for you. Where's their confidence level at with you and the team?
Phoenix has the hardest jump in all the tracks, so it's just going to be about, just grinding out laps to make sure we can survive, 10 jumps over that thing, because it's going to be tough.
Well, congratulations on your podium finish tonight, Connor. Who else would I give a shout out to here on Racecraft TV?
Yeah, thanks, fellas. I got to thank Apex Gaming PCs, Pimax Racing, or Pimax VR, 10-7 Race Wraps, all the guys at Jim Beaver Esports, at Dirtfish Rally School. I got to thank you guys and Josh for not only broadcasting, putting on a top series for Rallycross like this. It's nice now that the World Championship's over, we can all kind of race in this. So thanks, fellas.
And thank you very much for your time. That's Connor Parisi, 3rd place finish for him. And we transition over now to our feature race winner tonight in Garrett Maines. And Garrett, it was an uphill battle for you. Definitely did not make it easy with Makinen behind and everybody else trying to battle you. But end of the day, you walk away with your first feature race win since season 1, round 5 in Atlanta for you in Racecraft Rallycross. Congrats.
Thank you. I really wanted this one, and I thought it slipped away from me in turn 1. I got a ton of right front damage. I was actually past 10 o'clock on the straightaways to go straight on the wheel. If I wanted to make it to the hairpins, turn 1, and the final corner, I guess that's turn 5, either full handbrake or past 6 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the steering wheel just to make the corner. And then it would do this odd chatter after that. It was just so broken. And I knew after, me and Tommy had really duked it out in the heat. And I knew that was like, maybe going to come back to me in this situation. I was getting kind of worried because I could not make the corners. I was having to park. If he had tapped me, I don't know what would have happened. The car was just completely unbalanced. And I'm just lucky that I survived in the end and was able to hold on to it. I really don't know how I was able to hold on to it. I've never used handbrake so much in my life. I was having to use it for turn 2, for turn 3, even in turn 4, just to get the car to rotate. I would have to pop the handbrake. It was a mess, but it was cool to be able to finally get it done this season.
We saw you come back with the Volkswagen Beetle, a bit of a throwback to the 2020 iRacing Rallycross World Championship. What was the thought process choosing the Volkswagen this week instead of your normal Subaru?
Well, you see, just like in the World Championship in 2020, I was leading the race going into turn 1 or battling for the lead when I got fenced in turn 1, just like that. Same situation. Last time I got turned around, this time I was able to stay straight, and I think that was the difference. And thankfully, I was able to hold it off. I really wanted, I was glad to see this track on the schedule, and I really wanted a redemption round because there's a lot of people in here that are really fast, and me and J-Bob actually had a really good battle in the practice race before this, probably up there on the top tier battles list of all time for me. And then obviously me and Tommy really got to duke it out, so it was fun to come back to Lucas Oil, and I was really happy to be able to pull it off with the win tonight.
3 races left: Phoenix, Knock Hill, Atlanta. Are you going to be at those 3 races? What have you got left for you in the calendar? And then can you make a run at your friend Jacob Rafoss for the championship?
I don't think the championship's still in the picture because I've missed 3 races now. But I don't know. I like Atlanta. I'm not a fan of Knock Hill, but I have 1 race under my belt there. I don't know. I mean, if I have time to run, I've got some other stuff that's about to come up on Sundays. But assuming that I'm back in time to run, I would definitely love to.
We'll see you at Phoenix, Knock Hill, and Atlanta. Hopefully, Garrett, congratulations on your race win tonight. Go celebrate it. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. And I got to give a shout out to ChevyLiners.com, Leaf Filter Gutter Protection, MCU Body, Linux, Elliott Sadler Esports, Colleague Racing, and shout out to Josh for putting this on, and thank you guys for broadcasting. I watched a little bit of the broadcast during the heats from my battle with Tommy, and that was phenomenal. It was really cool to watch.
And thank you very much for your time post-race. That is Garrett Maines, our feature race winner tonight. And Ian, we now put a bookend to this event of Racecraft Rallycross, and in 1 week's time it's going to get interesting when we go to Phoenix. And I mentioned earlier, it's one of the classic tracks of iRacing Rallycross. Was here day 1. It's on the legacy version of Phoenix, available to everybody in the iRacing service, and oh, by the way, might just be one of the toughest courses these drivers face all season.
It's such a difficult track, Josh. You have to dive into turn 1 and dive up onto the oval. There's a transition in the banking, and there's a transition off of the banking into a tight turn. We always see trouble there, and we see trouble over the jump, and it's a unique Joker lap as well. It's such a shortcut, but you go around the outside of the turn, and the merge is always something to watch. It's arguably one of the best tracks that we go to, maybe even the best track. It's my favorite track. It's one of the track of it. Not to brag, but one of them I have the most wins on here on the service, so I'll be excited to join in the booth for that one as well.
And we hope that you'll join us for round 8 on September 4th, 4 p.m. Eastern. That is from the virtual Phoenix Raceway. That'll do it for our coverage of Racecraft Rallycross tonight, and what a night it was. For my colleague Ian Fisher and for Trevor Teal joining me for RX2, my name is Joshua Lee, and the battle for the Racecraft Rallycross Championship just continues to get even more intense. With only 3 rounds remaining, who is going to walk away with the 3rd season championships of RX2 and RX1? Right now, both championships are pretty wide open, so you have to join us for the last 3 races as we conclude a season. But for now, we're saying goodnight from virtual Lucas Oil.